Hello, I'm Kateri Gabriel. Thanks for joining me for this presentation on demystifying grants. I was wondering, does your simulation program need new or updated equipment, but money is short? Or are you unsure of where to start in finding funding sources? Our goal today is to help you in clarifying your path forward in tackling grant writing. We have 3 learning objectives. We want to identify priority needs to direct your grant funding efforts. The second objective is to describe 3 resources for finding grants. And lastly, to summarize the steps of demystifying grants. In the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to cover 5 steps you can take to secure equipment funding for your simulation program. Let's imagine that we work for a community college nursing program in the Dallas, Texas area. One of our mannequins is pretty old, no warranty, and soon the software will no longer be supported. Does that sound familiar? Next year, our program is going to increase the number of freshman student admissions. So the faculty need 3 mannequins with a list of features for a new physical assessment course that they're going to be starting. We're going to run through the 5 steps using this hypothetical project for a hands-on demo. So let's get started. So step 1 is to conduct a needs assessment. So during your equipment needs assessment, keep your program objectives in mind. That will help guide you in determining what your priorities are. Go ahead and make a features comparison chart to make sure that you have a clear idea of the pros and cons of each of the different types of equipment and the different manufacturer products that are available to you. Since most simulation equipment is very expensive, go ahead and take the extra time to look into scheduling a demo, getting current customer feedback, and investigating the fine print of the costs so that you are requesting sufficient funding. Step 2, identify support. 3 sources of help in securing grants include your institution. It may have a grant or foundation department that helps seek funding for the entire academic institution or a hospital. So go ahead and tap into their expertise and make sure that you collaborate with them in providing insightful information about what you might need for your program. Ask your colleagues and your coworkers. Quite often you might find somebody with grant writing experience, and that'll be a benefit to you. Third is ongoing education. Check out continuing education courses at your local community college. In addition, lynda.com has a course on writing grants, as do Udemy and Coursera. Step 3 is to find your match. This is where we're going to spend a little bit more time today. Although the U.S. federal government is a source of funding, usually these grants are larger and have significantly more paperwork, strings attached, and more competitors in the running, so you'll have a bigger pool of people that you are competing against for the funding. The one-stop shopping for federal grants is called grants.gov in the United States. Today we're going to focus on smaller goals and tap into the private foundations that are out there. Foundations are philanthropic institutions seeking to help improve circumstances by donating to causes that they have identified as their priorities. So being altruistic is definitely their primary objective, but these foundations are working within the tax code laws, and they are obligated to donate a certain portion of their money each year. There's many reasons that they like to fund things. So it may be historic preservation, it could be protecting wildlife, some like to support the fine arts. Others like to provide educational opportunities for disadvantaged youth. That's just the tip of the iceberg of reasons why foundations like to donate money. So Google might be a good way to start finding some foundations, but that's going to be very time consuming. So that's not the go-to way of finding a foundation. Another potential way of finding a foundation is through word of mouth. So maybe some of the neighboring schools have secured some grant funding and they might tell you about how they went about getting that. Or maybe just the next time you're at a picnic, you can talk to somebody and they may, lead you to where you'll find a grant. So the Foundation Center online is a subscription fee database, and it contains thousands of foundations. It's searchable with keywords which will assist you in pinpointing your search to increase your success rate in finding the appropriate match for your project. There are 2 subscription levels, Essential and Professional, and you should check out if your local library is a subscriber. Many libraries in the community have subscriptions to the Professional level, which is the higher of the 2 levels. It has more capabilities and more foundations, but the trade-off is you usually have to physically go to the library and access the Foundation Center from the computers in the physical library. On the other hand, a few libraries that I found, at least temporarily due to the pandemic, have access to the Essential version at home, and there's still thousands of foundations there, so it's definitely worth spending a couple of hours researching through from home or from work, so you don't have to go to the library itself. When I recorded this video, I found that the Boston, the Dayton, and the Atlanta public libraries all had access to the Essential level of the subscription without even having a library card.
I'm here on my local library internet webpage, and under Resources I have the Foundation Directory Online Essential. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and I open up the Foundation Directory Online, and under the Advanced Search and Filters, I'm going to type in my subject areas. I'm going to look for nursing education, and I'll select that, as well as community college, and I can click on that one. I'm going to look for both of those as opposed to one or the other. I'm going to look in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area and go ahead and search. Now the matching foundations that it came up with are 3 different grant makers. In the city of Dallas, these are the total assets, the total giving that they have done, and the amount funded. So let's start with the first one. I can see the snapshot details. They are interested in education as well as health, so I have kind of a good match there, so I'm going to go ahead and select that. Now the Foundation Directory Online will give me a breakdown of what's been funded. Education 9 million, health 6 million. So again, kind of a strong thing in my favor. In the past 5 years, most of their grant money has been given to folks in Texas. One lucky person in Connecticut got some money. This is the amounts of money that they usually fund, so it's important to kind of match how much money you're looking for with the amount of money that they normally donate. I can look at more interests that they have, so these are the subjects that they have listed as important to them. So I have some higher education here. And looking through the list, they do fund medical education, so likely nursing education would be in there, and they like students, so far so good. And vocational education, so if maybe I was an LPN program, I might still be doing well. They fund equipment and program support. If I wanted some more details about the foundation itself to kind of find out how I should play my application, I'll keep that information in mind. More details about the foundation. The application, this says there's a form not required, but there really is. When we go to the website, we'll look at that. But they meet multiple times a year. They have multiple rolling deadlines. So if you want to get in on the August 15th one, now's the time. So also important is the limitations that they have on their giving. So you probably need to be in Texas, no religious organizations, etc. And then you have some more details who's on the board, just in case you happen to know any of those people. We're going to quick jump over to the 990 forms. That's their taxes. You can see this is 34 pages long, and I have already been through here, so I knew that on page 20 are some of the items that are of interest to me. So they have donated $100,000 to the University of Dallas. They funded a medical center, so they like medical equipment, perhaps. $200,000 for the engineering school. Now let's slide back up and go back to the main page. Another nice feature is you can get the PDF version of this, so you can research a whole bunch of them for future projects that you might have. So while you're looking, you might as well get a stack of them. These are also foundations that may be aligned with your requirements. So basically the web page at a glance. So we're going to hop over to the foundation web page. Not all of them have foundation web pages, but this one happens to have one. You can find out more about, and I definitely recommend finding more about the foundation itself to make sure that you write your project to align with what they are interested in supporting. So this one happens to map it out nicely, what they've done over the past few decades, and even the topics. So not all foundations are this thorough, but we'll hop over to education, and you can see that they are interested strongly in supporting education. Down here we have some University of Dallas, University of North Texas, and even above, up a little bit, St. Mark's School has a new science center, so they like technology, so maybe that technology will be supported by this foundation. So again, proposal dates, they have different ranges that you can submit, and you'll hear back by the consideration dates. So definitely following the directions. This suggests that if this is your first time asking for money, you contact them before you go painstakingly through all the steps. But again, follow the rules on what they want to do. This one gives you kind of a PDF of what you're going to be requested when you fill out the online application. So I would print this out, go ahead and fill in these sections describing your project that you would like funded. And each foundation has different content. Again, they are interested in funding equipment, so this is a strong match for us. They like technology and program support. So other thing that they like to know is other partners who might be funding your project so that they're not alone. This one, interestingly, wants your latitude and longitude, probably to make sure you're in Texas. They are supporting colleges, so that is in our favor. And some more tax forms, etc., that you'll need to do. You will have to have a reports showing other foundations are supporting over the same period. I would definitely take advantage of this last one, the optional file uploads, so you can take pictures of your students with their broken down equipment and submit that. It's very important to thoroughly read all of the steps that you need to take and follow them. Definitely would recruit a friend to help you confirm that you've dotted all the I's and crossed the T's. Let's step away from the Hoblitzel Foundation and go back to the Foundation Center online for a look at another foundation with potential funding opportunities for our project. The Hillcrest Foundation is managed by Bank of America. Here in the PDF, there is quite a bit of information that we should make ourselves familiar with before writing our grant application. The thing I'd like to really point out here is the follow-up requirements. Many foundations require details about the success or obstacles faced by the recipients of their support. And quite frankly, this is an excellent platform to demonstrate your program's worthiness when you have another project.
Step 4. The easiest way for a foundation to narrow down the number of proposals to review is to eliminate those applicants who failed to follow the directions. So read the fine print. Make sure that you meet all the deadlines, complete the entire application, comply with the word count and the character limits, and have someone proofread your application before you send it. If the foundation has a statement inviting the applicants to reach out prior to the application process, do it. Have a telephone call or email conversation. It allows you to make a great first impression and may provide you with information on how to make your application stand out, or that really it isn't a match and it'll save you time from applying and it just wasn't a match. Alrighty, step 5, rinse and repeat. Once you crafted a compelling story about your program and how it matches the target foundation with measurable outcomes that will be achieved after you acquire your requested equipment, likely you can repurpose a lion's share of that content over and over again, just cutting and pasting into different applications. Many foundations will donate to a particular organization more than once. And some foundations are keen on supporting projects that have other supporters besides them. So you may want to seek partial funding from 2 or more sources in order to complete your project. I hope the steps helped demystify grants and what you need to do to get started in securing funding for your program. Even though these steps are not necessarily quick, they are doable. So just as a review, 1. Start small with something on your needs assessment list. 2. Find a willing colleague. Everything is easier with a friend. 3. Commit to taking the time to find a foundation that is a match. Some searches are exact matches right away. Others are a little more time consuming. So go get some coffee afterwards to celebrate your finds. 4. Craft a compelling and recyclable narrative of why you're seeking funding and the benefit that will be achieved with it. Carefully follow the application requirements and then click send. Number 5. Reuse your compelling recycled narrative and any feedback from the first foundation so that you can improve it as you submit applications to other foundations. Here are some links to resources that may be helpful to you. sim2grow is offering a free grant proposal write-up for a comprehensive medication administration system, if that is something your program is seeking to fund.